Mission 1 Pumpkin Problems. And no, not those ones. For this mission, we just have one worm, and it looks like we're up against a lot of worms, but we don't have to kill any of them. We can just safely ignore these guys. So our only goal is to collect the crate in the lower right side of the map, and we're armed with shotguns, Uzis, girders, and ninja rope, and the only thing we actually need is ninja rope. So we can start off with just sort of the easiest method that I think is maybe the quickest to learn. So we just start by doing a forward jump, enter, and aim up a little bit, do another forward jump. You want to sort of aim for the top of that pumpkin and just fire the rope in midair. So grapple your way over. And if you're new to Worms Armageddon, so a lot of times people pull in the rope a bit too far and they get kind of like caught here. So don't hold up all the way until you're like pressed up against the pumpkin. Give yourself some leeway and stop like right here. Then as you sort of, gain some momentum and get over, then you can right here extend, so press down. And so basically you want to aim yourself for this mine that's right there. And you have so much health, you're not going to die. So this creates a hole straight to the crate. The CPU is not going to attack you or do anything, so you don't even have to worry about it. Second rope, just shoot it, extend to the crate, drop off the rope, and you're done. So this is the easiest method. And it's worth noting that sometimes when you do this, you can actually land either right on the crate or almost right on it. So it can be a very fast method. So in this case, we almost get onto the crate. All we have to do is just a backflip, and the mission's over. And so now I want to look at sort of a more intermediate level strategy that maybe isn't 100% unless you've practiced your roping a bit. So for this method, we're kind of doing the same thing at the start. We're just jumping forward once, and we're just rounding the corner here. So at this part, though, we're going to actually sort of bump ourselves over to that green vine, and we're going to launch ourselves over the mine softly so that we don't actually go high enough to take fall damage, and we keep our turn. So one way to do this here, you kind of want to have the same routine every time. So I just kind of aim myself at the crate, and I'm just extending softly. So as I hit the pumpkin here, all I'm holding is down. I'm not holding left or right, so that makes it sort of a soft bump. And we keep going. So you're just extending with down here, basically. And up until this point, I just start holding left right about here, and that gives me just enough power to do a very soft launch. So then we do a backflip, attach the rope again to that green vine. And at this stage right here, so since your rope is really at its limit, what you want to do is make sure to release right about here. And you're coming in at sort of an awkward angle, but you have, as long as you don't go perfectly horizontal, that's going to be too far. You want it to be a little bit before your rope is hanging like vertically down. You'll be able to attach to that green part, shoot another rope, and try to extend into the crate and grab it. This is actually going to be the fastest method that's also consistent, and it's just a little bit faster than the other method. I think by a handful of seconds. It depends on how efficiently you do it. Today is the greatest day I've ever flown over these pumpkins, grabbing that crate. So yeah, what we just saw is the fastest way to do mission 1, and as you can expect, it's really, really hard. This is called doing a Mexican flip, or a Mexi. So what happens is you release at a sideways angle, and that basically means that your rope is going to shoot out at the maximum possible angle. So when you make it over this final pumpkin, you just have to time that final rope to attach, collect the crate, and then finish the mission. Now, the way I just did it is really, really hard. I didn't have any setup. I just kind of went for it. And that is not a good repeatable way to do this one. If you really want to attempt this strategy, let's go over how to actually do it. But keep in mind, this is not recommended, especially if you're just starting the run. This is at most going to save you like 10 seconds off your whole run, and that's not very much. This is really one of the last strategies you even want to mess with, but hey, it's fun to do. It's fun to practice, and it might even make you better at roping. Okay, the secret of making the big Mexi strategy repeatable is that we're going to launch our rope from the same spot every time, and once we're at that spot, just hold up and right until we actually do the fling. So we just forward jump once to the right, face left, forward jump, face right, forward jump. And we're actually going to use these little background lines called gradient lines to aim our rope. So if you press insert as many times as you need to make it black, you can just press it 2 more times. We're going to aim our rope until it's above this gradient line that's right by our aimer. And we're looking at the left nub of the crosshair. So it's going to be just above the aimer, like so. So we're not quite at the right spot. One thing about the crosshair is that the actual pixels of it, so the sprite, it changes every 2 angles. And remember that in this game, there are discrete angles, so there's a limited number of angles you can aim at. So we just want to go 1 up from here, and as we do that, it's going to change its visual appearance. So we're going to get a sprite change. I went a little too far, so I just went down 1. So you'll notice that the nubs are a little beefier at this position, and it's just above that gradient line. So now that we're in the right position, all we have to do is hold space, hold up and right, and we can just fling ourselves at the right time. And we just collect the crate, and we're done. So you'll notice that the timing at the end of that, it's right as the worm has passed that mine or is roughly in level with the mine, and that's going to get you a good timing. Luckily, we can make this method safer if we use pause buffering. So pause buffering just means we're going to pause it right when we do the fling, see if our worm's in the right position, and if they're not, we can just use method 1 or 2. So let's try it. And looking at my worm, so it is actually in the right position, and I have 2 ways of telling. So the first way is that my worm's head has crossed that gradient line that we can see here. The other way is to look at the blinking rope icon next to the worm, and if the bottom of that is perfectly in line with the bottom of the oil drum, you're good. If it's a few pixels below, you're good. If it's a little more than that, then you're probably not going to get it, but there's a chance. And if it's a little above the bottom of the oil drum, there is a chance, but you're not very likely going to get it. So from this point, all I have to do is hold space, up, right, and then just press escape. And that's it for mission 1. As a reminder, when you started the mission, you should have pressed tab 3 times and then space to enter the mission. And as the screen fades to black, as you finish the mission, just press Alt F4 to do fade skip, then mash space to get on to the next mission.